Hollywood. Late autumn. The machinery of the American entertainment industry operates on a very specific currency. It is not talent. It is not charisma. It is certainly not martial arts proficiency. The currency is leverage. The system is designed from the ground up to ensure that the people who occupy the offices on the top floors of the buildings on Wilshire Boulevard retain the leverage, and the people who stand in front of the cameras do not. It is an ecosystem built on the premise of dependency. Actors are taught, implicitly and explicitly, that they need representation. They need advocates. They need someone with a Rolodex and a telephone to grant them permission to exist in the public eye. Agents are the gatekeepers. They manage the flow of permission. They sit in climate-controlled rooms in Beverly Hills, behind desks made of imported mahogany, and they calculate the exact market value of human potential. They categorize, they pigeonhole. They look at a human being and they see a demographic, a type, a slot in a television schedule. In 2070 Set 1, the slot for an Asian man in American television and film is narrowly defined. It is the servant. It is the villain. It is the silent, lethal henchman who steps out of the shadows to be defeated by the square-jawed American lead. It is not the hero. It is never the hero. Bruce Lee understands this machinery. He has been studying it with the same absolute predatory focus that he applies to the biomechanics of a punch. He has been analyzing the power dynamics of Hollywood for years. He has played the game. He was Kato on the Green Hornet. He wore the mask. He stood behind the lead. He moved with a speed that the cameras literally had to be adjusted to capture, a kinetic reality that completely eclipsed the nominal star of the show. The audience saw it. The crew saw it, the executives saw it too. But seeing is not the same as understanding. And understanding is not the same as changing the machine. The machine does not want to change. For months, Bruce Lee has been developing a television concept. A show about a Shaolin monk wandering the American West. A show that treats martial arts not as a gimmick, but as a philosophy. A show built entirely around his specific, undeniable magnetism. The network executives listened to the pitch. They smiled, they nodded. Then they took the concept, removed Bruce Lee, and cast a white dancer named David Carradine in the lead role. They said an Asian actor could not hold an American audience. They said the risk was too high. They said it was just the reality of the business. This is the context. This is the atmospheric pressure of the world in late 10 Set 7 Set Adine. And this is the specific Tuesday afternoon when Bruce Lee decides that he is no longer going to ask the machine for permission. If you love Bruce Lee stories, subscribe. I post rare stories every day. The office of Bruce Lee's agent is located on the 4th floor of a glass building in Beverly Hills. It is a room designed to intimidate. It does not intimidate with overt aggression. It intimidates with status. The thick carpets that absorb sound. The heavy doors that seal out the noise of the street. The walls lined with framed posters of films the agency has packaged, a visual ledger of their influence. The agent is a man who has built his life entirely out of compromises. He is successful. He is wealthy. He is respected in the zip codes that matter to him. He operates under the assumption that everyone else in the world also wants to be successful, wealthy, and respected in those same zip codes, and that they will therefore accept the compromises required to achieve it. He is expecting Bruce Lee at 3 o'clock. He knows Bruce is frustrated. He knows about the kung fu rejection. He knows about the stalled film projects. The agent has a plan. The plan is standard industry pacification. He will validate the frustration. He will nod sympathetically. He will blame the network executives, painting them as out-of-touch suits while positioning himself as the loyal ally. Then he will slide a script across the desk. A supporting role. A secondary character in a detective show. He will tell Bruce that it is good exposure. He will tell him that they just need to play the game a little longer. He will use the word patience multiple times. He is preparing to manage a client. He is not preparing to meet a force of nature. At precisely 3 o'clock, the door opens. Bruce Lee does not wait for the receptionist to announce him. He does not sit in the waiting area reading trade magazines. He simply walks in. The agent looks up from his desk. Later, people who worked in that office would describe the shift in the air when Bruce Lee entered a room. It was not a mystical phenomenon. It was a purely physical one. It was the presence of a human being who was completely, cellularly awake. Most people move through the world in a state of low-level distraction. Their posture collapsed, their breathing shallow. Bruce Lee moved with the calibrated, relaxed readiness of a coiled spring. He is wearing a tailored suit, but the suit does not define him. He defines the space he occupies. He walks to the center of the room. He does not sit down. The agent smiles, the professional, practiced smile of a man who controls the room. "Bruce," he says, "have a seat. Let's talk about the next quarter." Bruce Lee looks at the chair, a heavy, leather chair positioned lower than the agent's desk, a geometric arrangement designed to establish hierarchy. The person behind the desk looks down. The person in the chair looks up. Bruce Lee does not sit. He stands in the center of the room. "We are not going to talk about the next quarter," Bruce says. His voice is calm. It is not raised. It carries the specific, resonant frequency of someone who has already made a decision and is merely delivering the paperwork. The agent's smile falters, just a fraction of an inch. The script in his mind is suddenly missing a page. "Look, Bruce, I know you're upset about the Warner Brothers thing," the agent says, leaning forward, deploying the sympathetic tone. "I fought them on it. I really did. But the town just isn't ready. We have to be strategic. I have a pilot here." He reaches for the script on his desk. "Stop," Bruce says. It is a single syllable. It is not shouted, but it hits the air with the percussive force of a physical strike. The agent stops his hand mid-reach. He freezes. He cannot explain why he froze, only that his nervous system received a command that superseded his conscious intent. Bruce Lee steps closer to the desk. He looks at the agent. He looks at him with the expression that martial artists who have sparred with him know intimately, the expression of complete, unhurried assessment. He is not looking at the agent's suit, or his Rolex, or the framed posters on the wall. He is looking at the man's structure. He is reading the tension in his jaw, the rhythm of his breathing, the fundamental reality of the human being sitting behind the mahogany shield. He sees a man who operates in the realm of paper. He sees a man who builds nothing, who creates nothing, who merely taxes the creations of others. "You think this is a negotiation," Bruce says. The agent blinks. "Bruce, we are a team. We negotiate together." Bruce shakes his head. The movement is slow. "We are not a team. A team pulls in the same direction. You are pulling me toward the ground. You are asking me to be smaller." The agent regains some of his footing. He falls back on the industry gospel. "I am being realistic, Bruce. This is Hollywood. There are rules. You cannot just walk in here and demand to be a leading man when the demographic data says..." "Data," Bruce interrupts. He says the word as if he is examining a strange, dead insect. "You look at numbers on a page. You look at history. You look at what has been done, and you tell me what can be done." Bruce places both hands on the edge of the mahogany desk. He leans in. The physical proximity is suddenly overwhelming. The agent leans back, pressing himself into the leather of his chair. "I do not live in your history," Bruce Lee says. "If you love Bruce Lee stories, subscribe. I post rare stories every day." The room is silent. The air conditioning hums. The faint sound of traffic from Wilshire Boulevard leaks through the thick glass. Inside the room, the dynamic has completely inverted. The mahogany desk is no longer a shield. It is a trap. "Let me tell you what is going to happen," Bruce says. His voice drops lower, forcing the agent to listen harder, drawing him into the gravitational pull of what is being said. "You look at me and you see an Asian actor trying to fit into an American television set. You see a niche. You see a martial artist who can maybe do a few kicks behind a white star." Bruce locks eyes with the agent. "I look at myself and I see a human being. I am an artist of life. My martial art is just how I express myself. You cannot put a human being in a box and sell him as a sidekick. Not this human being." The agent tries to speak. "Bruce, if you walk away from the agency, you will be blacklisted. Nobody will touch you. You won't get a co-starring role, let alone a lead." It is a threat. It is the ultimate threat in this city. Exile. Irrelevance. Bruce Lee smiles. It is a genuine smile. It is the smile of a man who has just been threatened with a toy gun. "You think Hollywood is the world," Bruce says. "You think this room, this street, this city is the entire world. It is not." He stands up straight. The physical release of tension in the room is palpable. "You cannot blacklist water," Bruce says. The agent stares at him. He does not understand. "You put water into a cup, it becomes the cup," Bruce says, his voice taking on the rhythmic, flowing cadence of a teacher, entirely absorbed in the lesson. "You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now, water can flow, or it can crash." Bruce Lee looks around the opulent office. "This agency is a cup. Hollywood is a cup. You want to pour me in and put a lid on it, but I have grown too large for the cup. The pressure is too high." He looks back at the agent. "I am going to crash." The agent is entirely silent now. He is no longer thinking about contracts. He is no longer thinking about leverage. He is experiencing something he has never experienced in his professional life. Absolute, uncompromising clarity. He is sitting across from someone who is entirely unbound by the rules of his universe. "What are you going to do?" the agent whispers. He does not mean to whisper. The volume simply fails him. "I am going to Hong Kong," Bruce says. "Hong Kong?" The agent is bewildered. "They make cheap exploitation films there. The budgets are nothing. It's a step backward. It's career suicide." "It is a camera," Bruce says simply. "A camera, film, and an audience. That is all I need. I do not need your permission. I do not need your networks. I will go where I am allowed to be myself fully. And when I have shown the world who I am..." Bruce pauses. He looks at the agent with a gaze that seems to look through the man, through the wall behind him, through the entire structure of the American film industry. "You will come looking for me." The certainty in his voice is absolute. It is not an arrogant boast. It is a statement of physical law, as inevitable as gravity. "But when you come," Bruce says softly, "the price will be different." Bruce Lee turns around. He walks toward the door. "Bruce," the agent calls out. It is a weak sound, the sound of a machine losing power. Bruce does not stop. He does not look back. He does not offer a closing pleasantry or a theatrical slam of the door. He simply opens it, walks out, and closes it quietly behind him. The aftermath of that meeting is not recorded in any contract. It is not written in any ledger. But it is etched into the history of global cinema. The agent sat in his office for a long time after the door clicked shut. He looked at the script on his desk, the script for the sidekick role, the script that represented the safest, most logical, most mathematically sound path forward. Suddenly, it looked entirely worthless. He had tried to manage a man, only to realize he had been trying to negotiate with a tidal wave. Bruce Lee flew to Hong Kong. He signed with Golden Harvest, a young studio operating far outside the gates of Beverly Hills. He made The Big Boss. It broke every box office record in the history of Asia. He made Fist of Fury. It broke the record set by The Big Boss. He made The Way of the Dragon. He wrote it. He directed it. He choreographed it. He starred in it. He shot the climax in the Colosseum in Rome, fighting Chuck Norris, demonstrating to the world a level of physical mastery and cinematic understanding that had never existed before. He was not playing a servant. He was not playing a henchman. He was the undisputed magnetic center of the universe. And exactly as he had predicted in that climate-controlled office, the machine in Hollywood felt the crash. They saw the numbers. They saw the lines of people wrapping around theaters in Asia, in Europe, in South America. They saw a global phenomenon occurring completely outside of their control, without their permission, without their packaging. They panicked. They realized they did not own the water. They were just watching it flood the earth. Warner Brothers executives, the same executives who had smiled and cast David Carradine in Kung Fu, picked up the phone. They flew to Hong Kong. They came with a script, a co-production, unprecedented control, unprecedented budget. They came with Enter the Dragon. They came looking for him, and the price was different. If you love Bruce Lee's stories, subscribe. I post rare stories every day. The agent who sat in that Beverly Hills office never represented Bruce Lee again. He spent the rest of his career packaging television shows, putting actors into slots, managing the slow, incremental progression of careers that lived and died by the rules of the machine. He watched the premiere of Enter the Dragon in a theater in Los Angeles. He watched the screen explode with the kinetic, undeniable reality of the man who had stood in his office. He saw what the rest of the world saw. He saw a human being fully expressing himself. He did not speak about the meeting. This was not a collective decision, nor was it an industry secret. It was the organic result of a man understanding that what had happened in his office was not a story of negotiation. It was the story of an illusion being shattered. It is the kind of thing you do not talk about at cocktail parties. Because how do you explain to your peers, who all believe they hold the keys to the kingdom, that the kingdom is made of paper? How do you explain that a man stood in front of you, refused the change you offered him, told you exactly how he was going to conquer the world, and then walked out and did exactly what he said? You don't. You go back to work. You look at your contracts. You pick up your phone, and you try to forget the day the water crashed into your room. Be water. This is what Bruce Lee demonstrated in that Beverly Hills office in the late autumn of Townsend 9 Seconds 7. Not to a camera, not to an audience of millions, to one man sitting behind a mahogany desk asking a predictable question. The agent asked for compliance. Bruce Lee showed him authenticity. He did not show him with anger. He did not show him with shouting. He showed him with the thing that is harder to project and harder to receive than anger, with absolute, unwavering truth, with the quality of complete self-knowledge that makes the space between two people in a room not a space of negotiation, but a space of revelation, available to the person who has learned to feel it. The agent sat in silence, not because he had nothing to say, because what he had just been shown was not the kind of thing the machine has words for. The truth speaks in the language of reality. Bruce Lee walked out the door. He went to work. If you love Bruce Lee stories, subscribe. I post rare stories every day.